さすがに見えないか。ちょっとどこ触ってんのよ。
今
急に
ほらレッツやば、この距離汗ばんだ肌もめっちゃエロく。
どいて。
Welcome to Season 2 of Rent a Girlfriend. You guys loved Season 1 recap and wanted me to cover Season 2. So here we are, let's jump right in. As Kazuya sits in his apartment, his mind wanders back to the conversation he had with Chizuru. She had told him that a famous director would be scouting the upcoming play she was in, and the thought of it had stuck with him ever since. On the day of the play, Kazuya makes a decision to go and watch it. Little did he know that Sumi, a friend of Chizuru's, was also nearby, taking in the performance. The play, titled The Heron Princess, is a stunning display of talent, with Chizuru playing the role of Nene, a kunoichi. The audience is swept away by her performance, and she receives thunderous applause at the end. Sumi, who had been watching the play from a distance, attempts to approach Kazuya after it ends. However, she changes her mind at the last minute and decides against it. Meanwhile, Chizuru is backstage, confident that her performance was flawless. That is, until she finds out that the director had chosen to recruit Shiori, who played the role of the princess, due to their long-standing friendship. Later that day, Kazuya and Chizuru run into each other, and she begins to criticize herself for not being talented enough. However, Kazuya quickly jumps to her defense, telling her just how amazing she truly is. Back in her apartment, Chizuru receives a call from Umi and Shiori, who praise her performance in the play. However, her happiness is short-lived, as she becomes distraught when she realizes the director chose Shiori over her. But just as she begins to lose hope, she sees that Kazuya has set up a date request for them, and her heart skips a beat. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who is your favorite anime protagonist and why? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now back to the recap. Kazuya starts his day by hanging out with his friends, chatting and laughing before he makes his way to work. As he arrives, he seeks advice from his boss on a few matters that have been bothering him. Once work is over, Kazuya meets up with Chizuru for their outing. During their time together, Chizuru surprises him by telling him that he doesn't have to keep paying her anymore. She also expresses her concerns about Mami and Ruka, showing that she cares about those close to Kazuya as well. Meanwhile, Kazuya remembers the promise he made to Ruka that he would continue dating Chizuru if he took her to see her play. After Chizuru's shift ends, she takes Kazuya to a batting cage, and they have a great time together. Later that night, they visit Chizuru's grandmother at the hospital. While they are alone, Chizuru's grandmother opens up to Kazuya, revealing that despite her tough exterior, Chizuru can be needy and lonely. She asks Kazuya to be there for her. As they head home, Kazuya ponders on how he can support Chizuru. Suddenly, she shows up at his door, catching him by surprise. Chizuru reveals to Kazuya that she has lost her key before she walks inside his apartment. Instantly, Kazuya becomes flustered about the situation until he notices Chizuru heading out onto the balcony to check her back door. Despite the momentary relief, this leads to an awkward moment between the two when Kazuya saves Chizuru from falling. Just then, unexpectedly, Mami shows up, causing them to hide out of view. As they wait for Mami to leave, Kazuya can't help but wonder where she was until she spots Chizuru's purse. In the meantime, Chizuru decides to take matters into her own hands and heads over to the landlord's office. However, Kazuya tells her that she can rely on him if she can't turn to her parents or friends. This gesture opens the door for them to share their respective family situations and dreams, leading to a deeper connection between them. Sometime later, Kazuya is delighted to briefly run into Chizuru on campus. The unexpected encounter leaves him feeling giddy and happy, but his joy is short-lived when he is approached by Mami while he is alone. Mami confronts Kazuya with a question that catches him off guard. "Are you the reason why you rented Chizuru?" Kazuya awkwardly denies her accusation, but Mami sees right through him. Sensing an opportunity to needle him further, she suggests that he should find himself a real girlfriend instead of renting one. As they go their separate ways, Mami cannot resist taking one last jab at Kazuya, insulting him for lying to her. Later that day, Ruka surprises Kazuya by showing up at his apartment with a home-cooked meal, As they enjoy each other's company, a sudden typhoon hits the area, making it impossible for Ruka to leave. Despite the stormy weather, the two decide to spend the night together. As they snuggle up, Kazuya begins to notice how cute Ruka is, but his thoughts are interrupted when she accidentally pulls out a condom. Feeling embarrassed, Ruka starts criticizing herself for being a nuisance, but Kazuya interrupts her, admitting that he is happy that she has told him she likes him. However, he declines her offer to have sex. The next morning, Ruka leaves Kazuya's apartment, thanking him loudly for the previous night. Unbeknownst to Kazuya, Chizuru has overheard the entire conversation. 3 days later, Kazuya and Chizuru unexpectedly bump into each other outside, but something feels off. Kazuya can't quite put his finger on it, but he senses that Chizuru is acting distant towards him. Confused and unsure of what to do, Kazuya heads back to his apartment feeling a little disheartened. Before we continue, let's take a moment to shout out Anime Guy for responding to the question of the day on our Cyberpunk Edgerunners video. He said, "Evangelion, this anime traumatized me as a kid. Now I loved smiley face." Yeah, you're not the only who has been traumatized by that anime, buddy. It still is one of my favorite anime that I have watched recently. Now back to the video. As he steps through the door, he suddenly remembers that Chizuru's birthday is only 4 days away. This realization sparks an idea in Kazuya's mind, and he makes a spur-of-the-moment decision to rent Sumi for the day. Perhaps she could give him some insight into what Chizuru would appreciate as a birthday present. As they embark on their outing, Kazuya takes the opportunity to pick Sumi's brain, asking for her advice on the perfect gift for Chizuru. After some discussion, Sumi suggests they visit the rooftop of a nearby department store, where they stumble upon a surprising sight. There, Chizuru is in the midst of performing in a hero show, dazzling the crowd with her skills. As they part ways, Sumi casually asks Kazuya when his own birthday is, to which he obligingly tells her. Later that night, Chizuru arrives home to find Kazuya's gift waiting for her, a box of her favorite umeboshi. She is overjoyed and appreciates the thoughtful gesture. Meanwhile, Kazuya can't help but ponder whether he made the right choice. Kazuya and Chizuru cross paths outside, where Chizuru expresses her gratitude towards Kazuya for the thoughtful birthday present he gave her. However, when Kazuya tries to rent her for another week, Chizuru reveals that her schedule is jam-packed with plans to hang out with her friends. As Kazuya makes his way to campus, his friends excitedly invite him to a drinking party. Meanwhile, Chizuru is off with her own group of friends. It's a surprise for both Kazuya and Chizuru when they bump into each other at the party later that night. However, the mood takes a turn when Chizuru's friends start teasing her for being an introvert, causing them to take off her glasses. Strangely enough, Kazuya's friends don't even recognize Chizuru. As the night progresses, they all end up playing a drinking game. Kazuya realizes that Chizuru, being a first-time drinker, might blow her cover, so he intentionally loses the game on her behalf. Finally, when the party is over, Kazuya is too drunk to even stand on his own, which prompts Chizuru to take on the role of his escort. Back at his place, she comforts him until he eventually passes out. What will Kazuya's reaction be in the morning? Find out on our next recap of Rent-A-Girlfriend Season 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome anime recaps just like this.